Oh man, Doc, don't tell me the last thing the internet needs is another dry pour video. All right, so I'm going to walk you through my dry pour, but I'm going to do mine a little bit different because I had different needs than a lot of people, and I'm going to get right to the point because one of the things I can't stand is you watch some of these dry pour videos, they don't tell you what to use, how to do it, so I'm going to tell you right up front. Here we go. All right, so how was my dry pour a little bit different than most? A lot of people are trying to get a smooth finish. I'm not. I'm actually trying to have a little bit of a wavy finish, and I want aggregate to be showing up. So a lot of people want to have this real pretty smooth finish. Not me. I want to have that gravel showing. I want to have a real tough non-skid surface. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people build a frame and pull a frame out. I didn't do that. In a minute here, I'll show you. I actually built my frame with pressure treated 2x4s. Then I actually drilled in rebar and I tack welded the rebar. Then I did my dry pour and then I wet it. That's how I basically did it. What did I use? I used, let me grab the bags, high strength concrete mix. Now you do not want to use a quick setting concrete on this. You want a concrete that actually sets slowly. So you want a high strength concrete mix. I recommend you get the 60-pound bags. I got mine at Lowe's. If you get the 80-pound bags, I'm telling you, it is a mother. 60-pound bags are heavy enough. Matter of fact, I feel like I got hairline fractures in my arms from throwing these things. Get the 60, get the smaller bags. How much do you need? I'll measure this out, and I think I ordered, I forget how many bags. I did my pour at about, because I have a real thick gravel base, I only did mine at anywhere from about 2 inches, about 2 inches deep, I think it was. Maybe 2.5 at some point. Really, a dry pour should be about 3. That's the dry pour, but I left all that structure in place. Next, a lot of people forget to tell you that you want your concrete to actually get wet from the bottom up and the top down. So before you do your dry pour, which is a step that a lot of people forget, you want to completely saturate the ground underneath. You want the moisture coming up and you want the moisture going down. You want both, and a lot of people forget to tell you that. That's really important. For me, this area right here, it was absolutely saturated. We've had 4.5 inches of rain in 3 days. This was just completely wet, so I didn't have to worry about that. I naturally have water evaporating up, so I didn't have to soak it. There's a ton of water in here. Then what I did is I went ahead and I just spread it, and then I started misting it. Now, one of the things that people battle with is they come out here and they do a real fine mist at first to sort of put a light crust. Now that light crust will keep the aggregate and stone from showing. If you come out here and spray heavy, you're going to wash that fine powder down and you're going to have a lot of aggregate, which I'll show you here in a second. But that's what I wanted. I didn't want a smooth finish. Look, I've got a steep ramp here, and I don't want, over time, it would sort of smooth out, moss and algae would get on it and be slippery. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Now, I'm driving my UTV up here, and that's one of the reasons why I left this frame in place, because I drive it up here every night. Plus, it was kicking back gravel here, and so I was having a big lip, and it was tough to get lawnmower equipment in and out. So basically, I built my frame, you wet it, you put it in, you flatten it out, and then you do a fine mist, and then you start watering. Every 2 hours, I put a tarp over it, put bricks around the tarp. I come out every 2 hours, I water it, and then last night I did one more coat of water on it. I pulled it off this morning, and we're walking on it already. Concrete this depth at about 2.5, 3 inches. I mean, it's going to take, to fully dry, it's going to take a full week to fully dry, but it's set up enough to actually drive on with my UTV in 48 hours. It'll be hard enough. I don't have to worry about edges cracking. Everyone always seems to worry about their edges. I'm not doing a pretty pour here. I'm just doing a structure pour. So let me go ahead and I'll run through the video and show you how I did it little by little. As I go up here, I'm kind of pushing gravel back, and now it's hard to get like mowers out and stuff like that. So yesterday I came out, I built a frame, I drilled some rebar through it, I tack welded the rebar in here, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dry pour don't throw the concrete up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wet it and wet it and wet it. I'm gonna put a tarp over it. I'm gonna keep that moisture in, and I'm gonna pull the tarp off, wet it again, keep wetting it and doing that cycle for all day long. So kind of the secret to this is just lightly water, let it penetrate. If it starts to run off, stop watering, let it penetrate. Put a tarp over it, come back, and basically keep repeating. Again, I'm leaving my 2x4s in here. I have pressure treated 2x4s and I screwed it together in a box frame because I wanted to make sure that I was dead level with those doors. I didn't want to block those doors. And I have gravel that can actually shift. So I want this whole thing to act as an independent unit. My concrete mix is only about 2.5 inches deep. Some of it works down into the gravel, but I want my surface rough. I don't want it smooth. So that's nice. The finished project looks something like this. Got it? Then I'll just come by and I'll sweep off any of this extra gravel that's not stuck in. Come out here and blow this off and sweep it off, but that's what I wanted right there. So I didn't want, this is a little bit different pour because this is a really steep angle. I didn't have to have it smooth. I didn't want it smooth. I actually wanted it kind of wavy and I wanted a real rough surface. Otherwise, over the years, this can wear down. If I make it too smooth, this can actually wear down and get a little bit slick. You get a little bit of moss or algae on there and it becomes slick. So I wanted that sort of gravelly surface. So as you can see, my dry pour looks a lot different than a lot of other people's because I wanted all these rocks. I wanted this uneven sort of textured surface, and man, you talk about something where you can't slip, that's what you got. 96 degrees today. I'm already in my second change of clothes. We were out here working on the yards and everything else today, and man, you can only work till about noon and that's it, and then you get all fried. So the sun's going to be hitting this pad. And you can see that it's still, even with the sun hitting it, it still has that dark gray tone to it. Concrete's going to take probably about 7 days to fully dry. And again, this is a little bit of a different pour because we're leaving these side ramps in here. And this actually has become a solid in one structure. Now, let me give you just a couple of updates of some videos that are coming out. I got a bunch of garden stuff here. On this front area up here, we left sort of a rough area. We're going to be putting in a flower garden over in here. We're going to put a flower garden in here. Now, if you follow my channel, we did a crabgrass kill out here. We did a goosegrass kill. And then this Bermuda actually burned off a little bit, got a little bit of damage. But this morning we came out and we cut it. And man, it's just, poof. Here's what's interesting. This is the old Bermuda you see. You can't see the new germination, which is about, oh, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch tall. So we just cut this, and man, this is going to be really nice. Now, the big land clearing project, which a lot of you guys don't know about, beside our house, we had a real thick, dense woods over here, and we had trees that were right along this gravel road. So I told you, if you follow my channel, that we were going to take out this big swath over here and opened up the pond view, which half the pond view was actually kind of closed off. I'm putting up some older footage here, I think. And let me show you what that looks like now. So now we're right in the middle of this land clearing project, but look, so my pond view used to stop here, and this was all woods. But look at it now. Now I have all that pond view down over here, all the way down to the corner. Man, it's so much better. So all these trees that were over here are all gone. I'm going to do a video explaining the difference between tree cutting and land clearing, because basically they come in here with huge excavators and they actually push the trees over and they take the whole root ball out. All the root balls are gone out of here. It's funny, they showed up today to finish up and they're like, it's way too wet. So this, we've had a ton of rain. It just got too muddy. They're going to let it dry out for 2 days, and then he's going to come back and we're going to shape this. We're going to plant grass, do some micro clover in here. The deer will absolutely love it. They'll all be in here. And then we're thinking about doing like a little studio. I want to do a little log cabin over there facing that pond, sort of as a little guest house with a loft. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't need another project right now. So now this house is really opened up and you got a gorgeous pond view out here. So you don't want to miss that. Hit subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope this helped you out. If you need some kind of pad, maybe at an angle for a ramp for a shed, that's what I did. And if it doesn't work out, I'll take a sledgehammer to it and redo it. Doc.